Right now, as you sit here reading these words, a question lingers in your mind. Can thought really create wealth? You may doubt it. You may whisper to yourself, if this is true, why have I not yet broken through? Why do I still feel trapped where I am? That voice of doubt is not your enemy. It is the starting point. Because the moment you pause your restless patterns and face that question, you begin to see a truth that has been waiting for you. Your thoughts are shaping your destiny this very second. Earl Nightingale once declared that the greatest discovery of our generation is this: you become what you think about. Simple words, yet they hold the weight to overturn a lifetime of struggle. You may think it is too abstract, too distant from reality. But look closely. Every circumstance around you, whether rich or poor, joyful or anxious, accomplished or defeated, is the harvest of thoughts you planted long ago. Picture a garden. If you sow rose seeds, you will never reap weeds. If you sow thorns, you cannot expect fragrance. Thought is the seed. Destiny is the garden. Every day, consciously or unconsciously, you have scattered seeds into the soil of your mind, and today's reality is the crop of yesterday's thoughts. You might have blamed fate, society, or luck. Yet the truth is that your own thinking has already built the conditions you now face. Why is it that some people surge ahead while others remain stuck year after year? The difference is not intelligence, not family, not luck. It is the direction of their thinking. Those who rise focus on possibility, on solutions, on vision. Those who stagnate pour their energy into obstacles, into complaints, into fear. At the fork of thought, their paths divided long before life showed the results. You may have underestimated the force of thought. You may imagine that thought is mere fantasy, while action is the real mover. But action is only the extension of thought. Without a change in thought, your actions remain trapped in old patterns, producing the same old results. Thought is the spark. Action is the flame. If the spark is wrong, the flame will destroy rather than illuminate. Nightingale reminded us that most people drift. They live as ships on the ocean without a set course, believing that the currents of environment dictate everything. But environment itself is the echo of thought. If you desire wealth, you must start not with environment but with thought. Change the route, and the environment will bend to follow. So accept this new conviction: the key to wealth is already in your hand. That key is not money itself. It is not external opportunity. It is your command over thought. Once you learn to guide it, you will turn potential into reality, desire into wealth, imagination into achievement. You might object. Why thought, and not hard work? Because hard work without the right thought is only blind labor. A farmer can toil endlessly, but if he plows barren land, his sweat brings only disappointment. Thought is the fertile soil. It decides whether effort bears fruit. Wrong thought patterns are like pouring water into desert sand. No matter how long you persist, flowers will never bloom. Now breathe deeply. Bring your awareness back inward. From this moment, your life no longer has to depend on chance, nor be caged by circumstance. Everything you need has already taken form in thought, waiting for your choice. Will you let your mind remain scattered and chaotic, or will you discipline it into the blueprint of wealth? Do not look at wealth as a far-off prize. See it as a sculpture already taking shape in your thoughts. Your thought is the chisel, your belief is the form, your action is the gradual carving. The finished masterpiece existed in thought before it ever appeared in stone. So repeat within yourself a vow. I already hold the key to wealth. It lies within my thought. If I dare to think, I dare to create. If I dare to believe, I dare to possess. Thought is destiny, and destiny from this day forward belongs to me. You have been trained since childhood to look outward. You were taught that success belongs to those with the right connections, the right background, the right chance encounter. You were told that wealth is locked inside an economy, inside a system, inside a marketplace you cannot control. And so you believe the lie that your future is in someone else's hands. That is the great misconception. Look around. How many people spend their lives chasing external conditions? They wait for the market to improve before they start their business. They wait for the perfect job opening before they sharpen their skills. They wait for others to recognize their worth before they dare to believe in themselves. They wait, and they wait, and they wait. Decades slip away in the waiting. They live as if opportunity is a storm cloud that must drift overhead at the right time, and all they can do is stand beneath the sky and hope for rain. But Earl Nightingale and Napoleon Hill both crushed this illusion. They revealed a law that is uncomfortable but liberating: opportunity does not live outside. It begins inside. What you see in the external world is only the projection of inner vision. Without inner vision, outer opportunity passes you by unnoticed. Think of two men walking down the same street. One sees closed doors, obstacles, reasons to stop. The other sees chances, gaps in the market, ways to serve, ways to grow. The street is the same. The difference lies in thought. Which one is you? Which one are you training yourself to be? When you surrender to the misconception that wealth depends on external luck, you hand away your power. You excuse your lack of progress by pointing at circumstances. You say, "I cannot move forward until conditions are right." That belief alone freezes you in place. It is like standing at a locked gate, unaware that the key hangs already on your belt. Every great creator, every wealthy pioneer, every leader who reshaped history had to face this same choice. They could believe in the myth of external opportunity, or they could dare to believe that their inner world shapes the outer. Those who chose the second path wrote their names in history. Those who chose the first path vanished into obscurity. You must decide. Will you continue to look outward and wait for life to hand you permission, or will you turn inward and realize you have carried the source of opportunity all along? Because the truth is simple: until you break the misconception, you will remain a beggar waiting at the gates of life. Once you break it, you become the builder who designs the gates themselves. And here is the paradox. The moment you stop waiting for opportunity and begin creating it from within, external doors begin to swing open. People call it luck. They call it coincidence. But you will know the truth. It was your thought all along, magnetizing events, attracting the right people, reshaping your behavior, sharpening your vision until what seemed impossible became inevitable. So let me press this into your mind: opportunity is not found. It is forged. And the forge is within you. From today onward, stop scanning the horizon and start scanning your own thinking. Stop blaming the external and start disciplining the internal. That is how you break free from the misconception that has trapped millions. Say to yourself now, with clarity, I no longer wait for opportunity. I create it. My thoughts are the roots, my actions the trunk, my results the fruit. Wealth begins in me, not outside me. You now see that opportunity is not outside you. Yet even as this truth awakens, another enemy rises. This enemy does not live in the marketplace, nor in your competitors, nor in the economy. It lives in your own mind. It whispers when you wake. It shouts when you try to focus. It pulls your attention away from clarity and drowns your power in noise. That enemy is inner chaos, doubt, and noise. Think back to your last attempt at growth. Perhaps you started a plan, set a goal, made a resolution. For a few days you felt unstoppable. But then came the flood: thoughts that said you are not ready, fears that whispered you will fail, distractions that pulled you in every direction. Your energy scattered, your focus cracked, your momentum collapsed. The idea was strong, but the inner noise was stronger. And so you quit. Earl Nightingale once described this perfectly: most people tiptoe through life hoping to make it safely to death. Why? Because their minds are consumed by fear and noise. They allow doubts to expand until they shrink their own dreams. They let the chaos of daily interruptions dictate their destiny. And they forget that silence and clarity are the rarest currencies of success. Ask yourself honestly, how many hours have you lost in inner arguments that never happened? How many opportunities have you killed in your mind before they had a chance to live in reality? How often has the voice of doubt kept you from taking the one bold step that could have changed everything? You must see this clearly. Doubt is not harmless. It is poison. Chaos is not neutral. It is sabotage. Noise is not background. It is the thief of destiny. The world outside you cannot stop you until the world inside you collapses first. Every failure begins in thought long before it appears in action. But here lies your power. If failure begins in thought, so does triumph. If chaos can derail you, clarity can rebuild you. If doubt can paralyze you, conviction can launch you. The same mind that generates noise can generate order. The same thoughts that enslave you can liberate you. You are not doomed to inner chaos unless you choose to be. Imagine your mind as a battlefield. On one side stands doubt, chaos, noise. On the other side stands vision, order, belief. Whichever side you feed grows stronger. Most people unknowingly feed chaos every day. They feed it by scrolling endlessly, by comparing themselves to others, by replaying mistakes instead of planning victories. They water weeds and then wonder why roses never bloom. You will be different. You will identify the enemy. You will name it. And once named, you will weaken its hold. You will say, "This doubt is not me. This chaos is not my destiny. This noise is not my master." You will reclaim your mind as your territory, and no enemy shall live there without your permission. So understand this law: wealth is not blocked by the world, but by inner interference. Remove the interference, and your natural genius flows. Silence the noise, and your ideas sharpen. Replace doubt with belief, and your steps grow bold. Order your mind, and wealth begins to order itself around you. Repeat this to yourself: my enemy is not outside. My enemy is the chaos within. But I hold the power to bring order. I hold the power to build conviction. I hold the power to command silence. From today forward, I master the battlefield of my mind. You have been told all your life that wealth is the result of hard work, of long years, of external breaks. You were told that you must chase money until it finally arrives. But this is a half-truth that keeps millions chained to mediocrity. The deeper law, the reverse law, is this: wealth is not the result of thought. Wealth is the cause. At first this sounds strange. You think, how can thought be the cause when I see people working every day, earning money, building businesses? Look deeper. Every business began in a mind. Every fortune began as an idea. Every empire began with a vision before it ever became reality. Action is the branch. Thought is the root. Without the root, the branch cannot live. Earl Nightingale said, "You become what you think about most of the time." Napoleon Hill wrote, "Thoughts are things." Both men were not speaking in metaphors. They were pointing to a law as real as gravity. Just as the seed contains the tree and potential, thought contains wealth and potential. The outer result is simply the unfolding of the inner cause. When you treat wealth as the result, you become a chaser. You look outward, hoping for luck, waiting for the right deal, begging for recognition. But when you treat wealth as the cause, you become a creator. You plant it first in your thought, and then you act in alignment with that vision. And because your mind holds it as real, your actions, your energy, and even the opportunities you notice begin to shift. This is why two people can face the same conditions and produce opposite outcomes. One person sees scarcity because his thoughts are full of lack. The other sees possibility because her thoughts are rich with vision. The conditions were identical. The thought determined the harvest. You must reverse your thinking. Stop seeing wealth as something to chase. See it as something to cause. Your mind is the factory, your thoughts the blueprints, your belief the raw material. The external world only delivers what the internal world has already commissioned. Think of the law of magnetism. A magnet does not chase metal. It attracts it by its very nature. In the same way, thought is a magnet. If your thought is disordered, fearful, negative, you repel wealth. If your thought is ordered, bold, abundant, you attract wealth. Wealth is not an accident. It is the direct response to the signal your mind broadcasts. So here is the reverse law in one sentence: wealth does not follow work. Work follows wealth and thought. If you want greater wealth, first expand your thought. If you want richer opportunities, first enrich your vision. If you want success that lasts, first hold it in your inner world with such clarity that your outer world has no choice but to match it. Say it now: wealth is not the result. Wealth is the cause. My thought is the seed. My vision is the root. My destiny is already planted in my mind. You now understand the reverse law: wealth is not the result, but the cause of thought. The question becomes, how do you command your thoughts with enough precision that wealth must obey? The answer is ancient and proven. You must establish a definite chief aim. Without a definite aim, your mind becomes scattered. One day you chase one idea, the next day another. You burn energy in a dozen directions and make no lasting progress. Your life becomes like a ship without a compass, drifting with every wave. And drifting never builds fortunes. Napoleon Hill warned of this in Think and Grow Rich. He declared that every person who reaches enduring wealth has one thing in common: a definite chief aim. Not a vague wish, not a hopeful dream, but a specific, burning, written, clear goal that commands every thought and action. Why must it be definite? Because the mind resists the vague. The subconscious cannot act on blur. If you tell yourself, "I want to be rich," your mind does not know what to do. But if you say, "I will earn $100,000 in the next 12 months by creating value in this specific way," your thought sharpens, your focus locks, your energy aligns. The definite aim transforms a dream into a plan. Earl Nightingale gave a challenge that proved this law. He invited listeners to write down a single goal, carry it everywhere, and think on it constantly for 30 days. The results were astonishing. People who had drifted for years suddenly experienced breakthroughs. Why? Because their thoughts, once scattered, became concentrated. And concentrated thought is power. Your task is clear. Choose one chief aim. Do not scatter yourself across 20 desires. Do not dilute your power. Pick one aim that matters most, that excites you, that stretches you, that forces you to grow. Write it down. Repeat it daily. Imagine it vividly. Let it dominate your mental landscape until your actions cannot help but follow. This is not mere motivation. It is mechanics. Your definite chief aim becomes a filter. It tells you what to say yes to and what to reject. It protects your time from distractions. It directs your energy like a laser instead of a floodlight. And when your mind and actions converge on one aim with relentless persistence, the universe itself seems to conspire on your behalf. But hear this warning. Most people will never commit to one aim. They fear missing out. They fear choosing wrong. So they dabble, they drift, they dilute. They spread themselves thin across 1,000 shallow pursuits. And in the end, they achieve nothing of depth. Do not join them. Say this with conviction: from today forward, I establish a definite chief aim. My mind is not scattered. My energy is not wasted. My thoughts are not vague. I am clear, I am focused, I am relentless. My aim is the blueprint of my wealth, and I will hold it until reality conforms. You may already feel the power of having a definite aim. Yet a trap still lies ahead, one that has paralyzed countless people who once carried strong visions. That trap is the belief that you must wait for perfect conditions before you begin. Look closely at how this mistake operates. You say to yourself, "I will start when the economy improves. I will launch when I have more money saved. I will commit when the timing is right, when I feel ready, when everything aligns." And so days become months, months become years, and your dream never escapes the prison of someday. Earl Nightingale called this the greatest waste of human potential. People spend their lives preparing to live instead of living. They wait for the perfect moment, not realizing that perfection never comes. Conditions are never flawless. The marketplace is never free of risk. The world is never without uncertainty. If you wait for all green lights before you drive across the city, you will never move at all. Napoleon Hill warned in his writings that procrastination is the most common enemy of success. And procrastination often hides under the mask of preparation. You convince yourself you are being cautious, strategic, wise. But the truth is harsher. You are afraid. You are afraid to start, afraid to fail, afraid to be exposed. And so you soothe yourself with the lie that you are waiting for readiness. But readiness is not the beginning. Readiness is the result of beginning. Confidence is not a precondition of action. Confidence is born from action. The path does not become clear until you walk it. You learn as you go, you adapt as you move, you grow in the process. Waiting accomplishes nothing. Look at every great fortune, every enduring legacy. Did they begin in perfect conditions? No. They began in uncertainty, in limitation, in risk. The pioneers did not wait for safety. They acted in spite of danger. They did not wait for clarity. They acted to create clarity. They did not wait for guarantees. They acted to create results. So you must ask yourself now, how long have you delayed the life you were meant to build because you were waiting for stars to align? How many times have you told yourself, not yet, not now, later? And how many of those laters have already turned into nevers? The mistake of waiting for perfection is not neutral. It is fatal. It drains years, it kills energy, it locks you into mediocrity. The world does not reward those who wait. It rewards those who dare, those who move, those who leap. Repeat this truth until it is etched into your mind: perfect conditions do not exist. The only perfect moment is now. The only real readiness is action. The only way to master the path is to step onto it. Say it with conviction: I will not wait for perfection. I will not delay my destiny. I will not waste my life in someday. I will move now, I will act now, I will claim my wealth now. You have just seen the fatal mistake, waiting for perfect conditions. Now you must learn the reverse law that will set you free. The law is this: begin before you are ready, and wealth will gather around your movement. This law feels backwards. You have been taught since childhood to prepare first, to wait for certainty, to hold back until you are fully equipped. You have been told that only the wise move when the path is clear. Yet look at history. The true builders of wealth did not wait for clarity. They created clarity through motion. Think of the Wright brothers. They were not ready when they built the first flying machine. They had no guarantee it would fly. They had no proof it would succeed. But they began. And as they began, the laws of flight revealed themselves. Think of Thomas Edison. He was not ready when he sought to create the electric light. He had no assurance it could even exist. But he began. And as he began, thousands of experiments taught him what no preparation could. Think of every entrepreneur who started with nothing but a vision. They did not wait for capital, or training, or permission. They began. And as they began, resources appeared, skills developed, allies emerged. Earl Nightingale said, "Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Begin where you stand, and work with whatever tools you have at your command. Better tools will be found as you go along." This is the law of wealth creation in action. You do not wait for conditions. You create conditions by moving forward. This is why you must reverse your thinking. Instead of saying, "I will act when I am ready," you must say, "I will act to become ready." Instead of saying, "I will begin when I am certain," you must say, "I will begin," and certainty will grow in the process. Instead of saying, "I must have everything in place first," you must say, "I will move first, and everything will fall into place." Wealth responds to motion, not hesitation. When you act, you generate energy. When you act, you attract people. When you act, you discover pathways that remain invisible to the idle. Action is the catalyst that awakens opportunity. So burn this law into your mind: readiness is not the doorway to action. Action is the doorway to readiness. Wealth is not attracted to those who wait. Wealth is magnetized to those who move. Say this with power: I begin before I am ready. I leap before I am certain. I move before I have all I need. And as I move, wealth gathers, opportunities appear, confidence grows. I do not wait for the path. I carve the path. Now that you know the reverse law, begin before you are ready. You need a practical method to keep your fire alive once you start. That method is this: build momentum through small wins. Here is the truth: you do not leap to wealth in a single bound. You build it step by step, win by win, brick by brick. Most people fail because they expect the leap. They dream of sudden transformation, instant riches, overnight success. And when it does not come, they collapse. But the great builders of wealth understood that fortune is not a lightning strike. It is a fire, kindled first by sparks, then by flames, then by a roaring blaze. Earl Nightingale often repeated that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Progressive means step by step, stage by stage. The realization grows in increments. Each small victory strengthens your belief, and belief fuels the next action. In this way, small wins are not trivial. They are essential. Think of climbing a mountain. If you look only at the summit, the distance will paralyze you. But if you focus on the next step, and the next, you move upward. Soon those steps compound, and the summit becomes inevitable. Small wins function in the same way. They are the next step that carries you forward. Napoleon Hill emphasized this principle as well. He spoke of organized effort, persistent action, daily progress. He knew that wealth does not come to the one who waits for one big break. It comes to the one who stacks hundreds of small breaks, thousands of small actions, until momentum itself becomes unstoppable. So how do you use this countermeasure? Begin with a goal that stretches you, yes, but break it down into achievable daily actions. If your aim is financial independence, then set the small win of saving a fixed amount today, making one sales call today, learning one new skill today. Each small win feeds your vision. Each small win proves that progress is real. Do not despise the small. Every great fortune is made of small increments. Every empire began with a single stone. Every flame begins with a single spark. Small wins create belief. Belief creates persistence. Persistence creates results. Results create momentum. And momentum creates wealth. But beware of neglect. Most people lose because they underestimate the power of the small. They say, "This is too little to matter." They skip the call, they ignore the savings, they dismiss the step. But what they dismiss, compounded over years, becomes destiny. Wealth and poverty both grow from what you do with the small. Say this to yourself now: I will not wait for one giant leap. I will stack small wins every day. Each win builds belief. Each win builds momentum. Each win builds wealth. I am not waiting for fortune to appear. I am building fortune piece by piece. Up to this point, you have discovered that wealth begins with thought, that clarity of aim fuels power, that action must come before readiness, and that small wins ignite momentum. Yet there is another silent mistake that destroys countless lives. This mistake is the habit of relying on environment and others while ignoring the force of self-belief. Look around and you will see this mistake everywhere. People say, "I cannot succeed because my city has no opportunities. I cannot rise because my family did not support me. I cannot create because the system is against me." They point outward and give away their power. Their belief is chained to external approval, external permission, external conditions. And because they ignore the power of belief within, their destiny collapses without. Earl Nightingale shattered this myth when he declared, "Circumstances do not make the man, they reveal him to himself." In other words, the environment does not decide your fate. It exposes your inner convictions. If you believe you are powerless, the environment will provide endless evidence to prove you right. But if you believe in your own power, the same environment will bend and reveal hidden paths forward. Napoleon Hill saw this truth in every success story he studied. The men and women who built fortunes did not begin with favorable environments. Many of them began in poverty, in obscurity, in rejection. What carried them upward was not environment, but belief. They believed in their aim when others doubted it. They believed in their worth when others dismissed it. They believed in their vision when no evidence supported it. And that belief magnetized the resources, the allies, the opportunities they needed. When you rely on others for belief, you will forever be weak. Because others will doubt you. Others will mock you. Others will resist your rise because your vision threatens their comfort. If you wait for them to believe first, you will wait for eternity. You must believe before they do. You must walk alone in belief until your results are too visible to deny. And when you rely on environment for permission, you will forever be trapped. Because the environment will never be perfect. Markets rise and fall. Systems change. Conditions fluctuate. If you make your belief dependent on these external factors, you hand your future to chance. But if you anchor your belief within, no storm can uproot you. Understand this: belief is not a decoration. It is fuel. Without it, your aim collapses, your actions falter, your momentum dies. With it, obstacles shrink, opportunities multiply, and energy floods your being. Self-belief is the greatest wealth you will ever own, because it is the soil from which all external wealth grows. Say it with conviction: I do not rely on others to believe in me. I believe in myself. I do not depend on the environment to permit me. I permit myself. My belief is the seed, my action is the water, my destiny is the harvest. Wealth begins with self-belief, and I will never neglect it again. By now you see the third mistake clearly: relying on environment and others while ignoring self-belief. To destroy that mistake once and for all, you must engrave this reverse law into your mind: the outer world follows the inner world. This truth is not mystical poetry. It is law. What you hold in thought becomes the pattern for your reality. What you accept inside is reflected outside. The outer world is not the cause. It is the effect. Most people live in reverse. They say, if only my job paid more, then I would feel confident. If only my relationships supported me, then I would feel strong. If only the economy improved, then I would believe in my future. But this is slavery to conditions. It makes you a puppet of circumstance, moved by strings you cannot see. Earl Nightingale exposed this illusion. He said that your world is a mirror of your consistent thinking. When you change your thought, the reflection changes. When you persist in belief, opportunities surface. When you cultivate order, chaos falls away. Napoleon Hill proved this with story after story. He showed that the giants of wealth began with inner conviction long before external evidence. They believed when there was nothing to see. They acted when the environment was hostile. They held faith when doubt was the common language of the crowd. And slowly, but inevitably, the outer world bent to match their inner world. Think of it as planting. You do not demand the soil to show crops before you place the seed. You plant the seed first, water it, tend it, and only later do you harvest. Thought is the seed. The external world is the harvest. To expect harvest before seed is madness. To wait for outer proof before inner belief is the same madness. You must reverse this thinking. When fear tells you that circumstances are against you, answer, my thought will shape them. When doubt tells you that people do not support you, answer, my belief will attract allies. When chaos tells you that the environment is unstable, answer, my order will create stability. Here is the law in its simplest form: as within, so without. If you want more wealth outside, you must hold more wealth inside. If you want more order outside, you must create more order inside. If you want greater opportunity outside, you must generate greater vision inside. Do not mistake this for passive daydreaming. The inner world shapes the outer world through aligned action. When you believe you are destined for wealth, you act with confidence. When you see yourself as powerful, you walk into rooms differently. When you hold vision clearly, you recognize doors others overlook. These actions, born from inner states, transform the outer world. Say this oath now: my outer world follows my inner world. I do not wait for proof. I create proof. I do not wait for permission. I give myself permission. I do not wait for conditions. I shape conditions. My thought commands my destiny, and the world outside me will obey the world within me. Now you know the law, the outer follows the inner. But how do you ensure your inner world stays strong, ordered, and focused? The answer is daily discipline of thought. Without discipline, your mind drifts. Without discipline, noise takes over. Without discipline, belief crumbles. Earl Nightingale described the human mind as fertile soil. Whatever you plant grows. If you plant weeds of fear and doubt, they will flourish. If you plant seeds of faith and vision, they will flourish. The soil does not choose. You choose. And you choose daily. Napoleon Hill called this mental diet. Just as your body becomes weak if you feed it junk, your mind becomes weak if you feed it negativity. Every newspaper you read, every conversation you entertain, every thought you repeat is food for your mind. And your destiny will reflect the quality of that food. So what is daily discipline of thought? It is the practice of guarding your mind like a fortress. Each morning, before the world invades, you set your aim, you repeat your vision, you affirm your belief. You choose thoughts that empower. You reject thoughts that weaken. You do not let random noise set the tone of your day. You set the tone. It also means practicing awareness. You notice when doubt creeps in. You catch yourself when fear takes hold. Instead of letting them grow, you confront them, replace them, and redirect yourself toward conviction. This is training. This is repetition. This is how a champion mind is built. You must also feed your mind deliberately. Read ideas that strengthen belief. Listen to voices that fuel conviction. Write down your chief aim every day. Visualize it with clarity until it burns into your subconscious. Do not leave your thought to accident. Guide it, like a rider guides a horse, until it moves exactly where you command. Understand this clearly: the wealthy are not those who worked harder for 1 week. They are those who disciplined their thought every single day for years. They became masters of their inner world, and therefore rulers of their outer world. You cannot rise higher than your daily mental habits. Most people will never do this. They let the news dictate their mood. They let gossip dictate their vision. They let random emotions dictate their destiny. And then they wonder why life feels chaotic. They have no discipline of thought. You will not join them. You will establish your daily practice. You will decide each morning what you believe, what you focus on, what you expect. You will rehearse it until it becomes automatic. Your mind will become a weapon, sharp and powerful, under your command. Say this now with strength: my thoughts are not random. My thoughts are disciplined. Each day I guard my mind. Each day I feed my vision. Each day I plant seeds of faith. Wealth belongs to the disciplined, and I am one of them. There is one more mistake that quietly strangles wealth before it has a chance to live. It is the mistake of clinging to safety and rejecting risk. You see it everywhere. People hold tightly to what little they have, too afraid to reach for more. They choose comfort over growth, routine over adventure, certainty over possibility. And so they stay small, safe, stagnant. You may have felt this pull yourself. You want to build something greater, but then fear rises. What if I lose what I already have? What if I fail? What if others laugh? And so you retreat back to safety. But what is safety? Safety is nothing but a slow death of potential. Safety is the cage you lock yourself in while life passes by outside. Earl Nightingale reminded us that success always involves risk. To step onto a new path, to build something new, to create wealth where there was none, all of this demands that you leave the comfort of the known. If you refuse, you remain trapped in the circle of the familiar, condemned to repeat the same results forever. Napoleon Hill went further. He taught that opportunity often appears disguised as risk, as temporary defeat, as uncertainty. If you run from risk, you run from opportunity. If you reject uncertainty, you reject the very door that leads to growth. The safe road rarely leads to greatness. Think of every wealthy creator, every innovator, every leader. They did not arrive at their fortune by clinging to what was safe. They embraced the possibility of failure, knowing that failure is only feedback. They risked rejection, knowing that rejection is proof of movement. They risked loss, knowing that loss clears space for gain. Here is the irony: by clinging to safety, you create the very insecurity you fear. By refusing risk, you guarantee mediocrity. By hiding in the comfort zone, you slowly erode your strength. And the comfort zone becomes a prison that grows smaller every year. But when you embrace risk, something shifts. Your mind sharpens. Your energy multiplies. Your belief deepens. You discover abilities you never knew you had. You meet people you never would have met. You enter worlds you never would have entered. Risk is the price of admission to the life you desire. So examine yourself honestly. Where have you been hiding in safety? Where have you delayed because risk frightened you? Where have you chosen the small circle of certainty instead of the wide horizon of possibility? Name it. Face it. And decide to step forward anyway. Say this with conviction: I will not cling to safety. I will not shrink from risk. I know that risk is the doorway to growth, the test of belief, the path to wealth. I would rather fail moving forward than rot standing still. My destiny demands courage, and I will deliver it. You have seen the mistake: clinging to safety, rejecting risk, and slowly suffocating your potential. Now you must embrace the reverse law that liberates wealth. That law is simple yet powerful: wealth belongs to those who assume responsibility and risk. Most people avoid responsibility. They fear the weight of being accountable. They say, I am not ready. They pass decisions upward, downward, sideways, anywhere but onto their own shoulders. But responsibility avoided is destiny abandoned. Responsibility embraced is destiny claimed. Every great fortune has flowed to the one who dared to say, the outcome is mine. Earl Nightingale said that the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it is conformity. To conform is to give away responsibility. To accept the herd's opinion, to hide in the safety of the crowd, to obey without question, this is the posture of the poor in spirit. The wealthy in spirit dare to step out, to assume the burden of leadership, to carry responsibility no one else will touch. Napoleon Hill proved this again and again. He showed that wealth flows to the man or woman who takes risks with faith, who accepts the challenge of failure, who does not wait for certainty but moves with vision. Risk is not an enemy. It is a partner. Responsibility is not a curse. It is a crown. Those who reject them remain powerless. Those who embrace them rise. Think of the entrepreneurs who built empires. They assumed responsibility for decisions that could ruin them. They took risks that others labeled madness. But because they were willing, opportunities rushed to meet them. Responsibility attracts power. Risk attracts reward. The two together form the cradle of wealth. This is the law: the one who refuses responsibility will always work for the one who accepts it. The one who avoids risk will always serve the one who dares. You must decide which role you will play. Will you be the servant of another's vision, or the master of your own? Will you let fear dictate your choices, or will you accept the mantle of risk and rise to wealth? Understand clearly, you do not need to gamble blindly. Responsible risk is not recklessness. It is calculated courage. It is stepping forward with faith and preparation, not waiting for certainty but moving with conviction. The wealthy do not leap without thought, but neither do they wait for guarantees. They act when others hesitate, and that is why wealth belongs to them. Say this oath now: wealth belongs to me because I accept responsibility. Wealth belongs to me because I embrace risk. I am not afraid of weight on my shoulders. I am not afraid of uncertainty on my path. I move forward with courage, and wealth moves forward to meet me. You now understand the reverse law: wealth belongs to those who assume responsibility and risk. But how do you maintain this posture of courage? How do you keep drawing wealth into your life even when fear and chaos surround you? The answer is this: you must train your thought to become a magnet for wealth. Earl Nightingale once compared the human mind to a broadcasting and receiving station. What you consistently think about sends out a signal, and the world responds with events, people, and opportunities that match your signal. If you broadcast doubt, you attract obstacles. If you broadcast faith, you attract openings. If you broadcast poverty, you attract limitation. If you broadcast wealth, you attract abundance. Napoleon Hill described this process as the law of autosuggestion. When you repeat a vision often enough with emotion and belief, it penetrates your subconscious mind. And once the subconscious accepts it as real, it begins working like an engine, directing your perception, guiding your actions, even influencing how others respond to you. The thought becomes magnetic. So how do you train your thought into this magnetic force? Begin with clarity. Your vision must be specific, your aim definite. The magnet cannot pull everything at once. It must be shaped to attract exactly what you seek. That is why your definite chief aim is so vital. Second, feed the magnet daily. Repeat your vision morning and night. Speak it aloud. Write it down. Picture it vividly. Attach emotion to it until it burns into your nervous system. The more energy you give it, the stronger the magnetic pull becomes. Third, align action with thought. A magnet without movement is wasted. When your thoughts are clear and your actions follow them, the world responds in alignment. People notice your certainty. Opportunities recognize your readiness. Resources flow to conviction. Finally, protect the magnet. Guard your mind from voices of fear, negativity, and doubt. Do not allow poison to corrode the strength of your belief. Surround yourself with words, ideas, and people that reinforce your vision. Every moment you choose what strengthens or weakens your magnetic field. Understand this clearly, you are already broadcasting a signal. You cannot turn it off. You can only choose its frequency. If you leave it to chance, it will default to fear, doubt, and scarcity. If you choose with discipline, it will broadcast wealth, faith, and abundance. The world cannot resist a strong signal. Say this with certainty, my thought is a magnet. It draws wealth. It draws opportunity. It draws allies. It draws power. I train it daily. I feed it daily. I guard it daily. Wealth belongs to the courageous, and I am the magnet that attracts it. You have walked through the entire path. You have seen the mistakes that hold millions back, searching outward for opportunity, drowning in inner chaos, waiting for perfect conditions, clinging to safety. You have replaced them with reverse laws that liberate you. Wealth is the cause of thought, action before readiness, the outer follows the inner. Wealth belongs to those who embrace risk and responsibility. You have armed yourself with countermeasures, a definite chief aim, small wins, daily discipline, the magnetic power of trained thought. Now it is time to close this journey with a vow that will echo in your mind and shape the rest of your life. Because truth, once known, is not enough. Truth must be claimed. And claiming requires commitment. Stand within yourself now. Picture your life as it has been, the hesitation, the doubt, the delay, the safety. Let it fade. Picture your life as it will be, clear aim, bold action, daily discipline, magnetic thought, unstoppable momentum. Let it rise. Feel the difference. That difference is not theory. It is destiny. Earl Nightingale called it the strangest secret, you become what you think about. Napoleon Hill called it the starting point of all achievement, desire mixed with belief. Both men handed you the same key. And now it rests in your hands. Do not drop it. Do not dismiss it. Do not delay. Use it. Hold it. Guard it. Live by it. Let it carve your mornings, shape your actions, and fuel your nights. Let it stand taller than fear, louder than doubt, stronger than chaos. Let it become the rhythm of your life until wealth and destiny flow naturally from your thought. From this day forward, no one else commands your fate. Not the environment. Not the crowd. Not fear. Not luck. You command it. Because you command your thought. And thought is destiny. Now speak this oath with strength and with certainty. I will never again look outward for permission. I will look inward for power. I will not wait for conditions. I will create conditions. I will not fear risk. I will embrace it. I will not scatter my energy. I will fix it on my definite aim. I will feed my thought daily until it becomes magnetic. I will guard my mind fiercely until it becomes disciplined. I will act boldly before I feel ready, because action creates readiness. I will not stop at small wins. I will stack them until momentum is unstoppable. I will not drift with the crowd. I will rise with conviction. I will not shrink into safety. I will step into destiny. From this day forward, I hold the key. Thought is the cause. Wealth is the effect. Thought is destiny, and destiny is mine.